debaters, rules for timing your speech are as follows. When there are 30 seconds left, you'll hear a short ring. When time is up, you'll hear 2 short rings. When it's 30 seconds into an extension, you'll hear a long ring. And upon hearing that, you have to stop your speech.
And rules for timing your cross-examination are, when there are 30 seconds left, you will hear a short ring. And when time is up, you will hear 2 short rings. And upon hearing that, you have to stop your cross-examination. Any evidence cited during the debate should have a corresponding evidence card, which may be reviewed upon request by the cross-examiner and their teammate.
The card needs to be returned at the end of the constructed speech following the cross-examination. For audience, please turn off your cell phone or turn it to a vibrant mode. When the debate is still in progress, please do not chat or use flash when taking pictures. Thank you. First, affirmative constructed speech, 4 minutes.
Good afternoon, honorable judges and distinguished debaters. Sexual offense is a serious issue existed in our society for a long period. It causes severe physical and psychological harm, mostly to the children, and ruining their whole life. For example, according to the Southeastern Center Against Sexual Assault, children may have medical problems such as sexually transmitted infection, pregnancy or physical injuries, and self-destructive behavior such as substance abuse or suicide attempts. At the end of today's debate, we'll show you that publicizing sex offenders' information is necessary in order to decrease the rate of sexual crime and its recidivism for the protection of the fragile children. At the beginning of this debate, we would like to define the term sex offender. According to American Human Association, sex offense includes sexual intercourse or its deviation and other sexual abuse, including touching and non-touching. And also, we define the term make public as giving criminals personal information as a notification to non-governmental institute or people. We affirmatively support that the government should publicize certain sex offenders' personal information to specific people or institute, particularly to protect the children because of the following. First of all, children are our future, and we believe that children are the one we should prevent most from being harmed by sex offense due to their lack of self-protection and awareness to danger. Citing from Taiwan Medical Magazine, in 2009, the number of sexual abuse on children was up to 59% out of over 8,000 sex offense victims, means that over 4,000 children offended by criminals. Also, according to the Journal of Contemporary Criminal Justice, 7% of the victims of sexual offense are younger than 5 years old. 38% are at the age of 6 to 12, and 46% of them are minor teens. What more serious is that a Canadian survey that tracked released child for more than 20 years reveals that a 43% recidivism rate. Second, both according to a study from the Ministry of Justice, people who commit sexual abuse are usually the ones who are lack of self-control. Therefore, we should keep them from our children. As a result, we affirmatively strongly believe that we should make public sex offenders' information to certain institutes or people to keep our children from danger. To further explain our plan, first, criminals who commit sexual offense to children, who are determined by the expert as in having great possibility to commit a crime, should be reported in a certain platform. This platform will only be opened up to certain employers whose job is related to children and having close contact with them, such as but not limited to school, institute of babysitters, from schools, and etc. By raising the awareness of those institutes. The employers can prevent from hiring offenders as their employees, and it can certainly decrease the sexual crime rate, particularly targeted to children, and lower down the danger they have in places like school. Again, we would like to emphasize that children are important and extremely fragile, so they need more protection from sexual crime. In conclusion, in order to prevent more sexual offense cases, particularly to children, we strongly believe that the Taiwan government should make public sex offender information. Thank you.
Second negative cross-examine, first affirmative, 2 minutes.
Okay, so we didn't see a definition for personal information, so we're wondering what the definition for your definition for personal information.
Personal information, we will decide the personal information from the possibility of their recidivism. So maybe if there are lower recidivism rate, we'll only provide their photos and names. And if there are, but we will provide their like photo, name, and their living place to the institutes we mentioned before.
Thank you. And you do agree that sexual offense is a big problem?
Yes.
Okay. And so you said that people who commit sexual abuse are generally people who have a lack of self-control, right? Yes. Okay. And so by publicizing the information, could you draw a link between publicizing their information and kind of reducing the chance of them committing the crime?
We believe that if we can give their information to institutes like schools, they will hire sex offenders as teacher or their employees, so they won't have the chance to contact to.
But they will be hired by other places.
So we will give information to all the jobs that related to the children.
Okay. But it doesn't change their lack of self-control. Like they won't be employed, but they still have that the thing that drives them to commit this crime. Right?
What is your question?
Like so, we make this information public, and the schools won't employ. The schools and other places won't employ them, but they could still possibly commit the crime.
Yeah, but we keep them from. Thank you.
First negative, Chinese speech, 4 minutes.
Good afternoon, judges, honorable judges, fellow debaters, ladies and gentlemen. I am the first speaker for the negative side, and I will begin on our side negates that the Taiwan government should make public sex offenders personal information. So I would like to begin by negating some of the points that the affirmative has brought up. So first of all, their plan is extremely vague and unclear, and we can't be sure that it will work. And in our cross-examination, we have emphasized again and again that their second contention directly contradicts, well, is detrimental to the entire workability of their plan. First of all, they say that the information will only be given to institutes that serve children, for example, schools. However, do children only go to places and institutes that, like schools? Is it like children only go to school and then go home and stay there? However, we should also bring up the point about how many of sexual abuses are also committed against children by their relatives. So how are we going to fix that? So their plan lacks workability. They do not have a working model to base it on. So it's extremely vague, and the negative finds it extremely difficult to argue against it. But first of all, their plan also limits the sexual assault protection for children. The negative is not saying that children should not be protected. We're saying, yes, children should be protected, but why are we limiting our actions only towards children? Yes, there is a higher percentage. 59% of total victims are children. However, what about the other 41%? Do they not need protection too? So, first, their contentions, children are our future, that's true. People who commit sexual offense have less self-control. That's true, but they don't connect this to the why publicizing their personal information is vital to this. So the negative would like to propose a resolution critique and challenge the mindset of this resolution. This mindset is dangerous. The resolution suggests that the victims and innocents have to undergo change to protect themselves. For example, let's make an analogy. The fact that people are expected to learn self-defense, but we don't teach people not to commit the offense in the first place. So if a person is sexually assaulted, it implies that if they do get sexually assaulted, it's somehow the victim's fault for not protecting themselves. The important connection is the resolution we're placing the burden on the victims and innocents. The important part is we have to get to the root cause. We have to solve the problem. We have to solve the problem by getting to the problem people, the rapists. We have to fix their mindset. So this will make their second contention fall. My second speaker will clarify his points about our minor repair, a sort of counter plan to show how the negatives plan, our mindset, will be vital to solving the great problem that is going on. So, we're not saying we don't care about victims. We do, because rape is a terrible crime. But we're trying to get rid of the risk for the people. We're trying to go fix the minds of those who commit the crime, because that's the most important. So, even if we release the personal information, there is no guarantee that people will not still be raped by these recidivist rapists. We need to fix this problem, and we need to fix this problem by going to the roots. Because we can't just shave off the top of it. We need to go to the roots, yank it out, and solve the problem. So please vote for the negative, who believes in solving the problem. Thank you. And now say right.
First affirmative processing, first negative, 2 minutes.
The negative have mentioned that our policy is only limited to children. But so you agree that if we are going to make public personal information, we should public more people like adults.
We have to protect more people, and as I stated in my speech, my second speaker will elaborate on the counter plan we provide. That will solve the problem for everyone.
Okay. Then next question: if you are a child, will you believe in the teacher?
Well, first of all, the problem
You
is
just answer yes or no, please. Will you
No.
believe in teacher?
no, because children should be educated about what is right or wrong.
If you are only like 5-year-old, you won't believe in teacher.
Well, the negative has never stated. Oh, the point of the negative is the negative is trying to make is that these teachers should never have been hired because they
Yes.
will get the correction
But-
they need.
Please answer the question correctly. So you don't know if you are believe in teacher or not. Okay, we move to the next question. So if you are believe in teacher, if the teacher is a sex offender, if there are more possibility to like cause sex offense to
Oh,
students.
okay. We have never stated that we're allowing sex offenders to be teachers. We're saying the plan is focusing on rehabilitating these people. And we never said that we would allow these sex offenders to
Okay.
get into this.
So
We're saying that publicizing their
you mentioned
information
that-
is not necessary.
So the negative mentioned that you want to solve the problem from the root by educating, but we affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second affirmative, constructive speech, 4 minutes.
Greetings to all. First of all, I'm the second speaker of informative. I'd like to detail our plan for publicizing sexual offenders' information. First of all, we would diagnose the sexual offenders into certain levels of threats, and we will depend on the level of threats to decide what kind of information we want to give out. And by giving out this information to the place like school, our government would actively inform the employer which has related to child, which work contain child relations actively. And if citizens want to apply for sex offender information, our government would check their applies. So, and we'll ask all working places or citizens who want to receive sex offenders information to let the information contain secret, not public to the whole public. And now I would like to say, moving on. So, Affirmative now has discovered that actually the negative have raised a question that is wrong on publicity, because the negative has said that our plan isn't complete by our workshop is not concluding all the other sex offenders who had offenders, adults, etc. But negative have not said that Taiwan government shouldn't publicize sex offenders' personal information. They only said that our plan is incomplete, and they say they will raise another plan that will change the mindset, and that is exactly what we'd like to achieve in the future. But they did not say that publicizing information of sex offender is wrong. They only say that this plan wouldn't solve enough. So, Affirmative would like to agree that indeed, to solve this problem from the roots, we have to change the mindset of the rapist. And by that, we are willing to accept any kind of help from the negative side to complete this mind repairing project. But as for right now, we cannot solve this problem immediately. So we have to take step by step. And by the first step, we have to protect our children from sexual abuse. So by this, we have to publicize a sex offender's information to workplace or citizens that may use this information to protect their own children. That is why we Affirmative stand strongly to say that Taiwan government should publicize sex offenders' information in order to protect our children and for a better future. I'm now standing for cross-examination.
Okay, so you clarified the plan a little bit, but
First, negative, cross-examine, second, affirmative, 2 minutes.
So what was your definition for make public then?
Affirmative 1 said that make public is to inform that people or authority, non-government authorities about the information. So public means government would tell certain people that the information of sex offenders, but in our policy that these people would not letting this information to go out to public. That's our definition to
So
public.
you're only releasing this to institutes
people.
that have to do with children.
Yes, that's Affirmative 1 said.
Okay, and does the affirmative accept the negative plan, whatever you propose? As you stated in your speech.
Because the mind repairing project is not contracts to our plan, because indeed to solve the sex crime problem, we have to change the mindset of sex
thank you.
offenders.
So how are you going to diagnose for certain level of threats?
That can be arranged, but we can, like, the first level, the dangerous level will be that person who recommit sex raping for a couple of times, and the minor one would like
So
only.
why was this person able to do this again if we are to follow through?
Well, if we want to proceed this plan, then, well, because now there are people who have committed crimes several times, so we'll have this right.
So, so who is going to fund this? Who is going to enforce this? Who's organizing all of this?
Of course, our government would be to gather these information and to inform all the institutes
So
who have
where is the money
Well, if our government, thank you.
Thank you.
can negative constructive speech for minutes.
Honorable adjudicators, fellow debaters. The second negative has observed a little point of vagueness. It's about the word mindset. So first of all, the negative would like to clarify upon the critique that we have proposed to this resolution and in addition to the affirmative. This is a resolutional critique that is saying that this plan, this proposition, is saying that we are expecting the victims to comply with laws and avoid the sex offenders, and that the sex offenders are excluded from society, basically. And this is a very dangerous thinking that perpetuates this idea that the victims are responsible for avoiding the sex offenders, and that we aren't supposed to do anything about correcting the sex offender's mindset, which is the other time we use this word, which is actually relevant to our counterplan, which I will bring up right now. So the negative would like to advocate for more corrective measures, which actually are in place already. I will demonstrate the solvency, workability, and feasibility of this counterplan and show how it is more desirable in action than the affirmative's plan. So first of all, let's talk about workability and feasibility. So according to an amendment made to the criminal code, the Sexual Offense Prevention Act, in 2011, on May the 26th, the Taiwanese Congress passed an amendment that said that registered sex offenders were required to receive compulsory medical attention. And this shows that it's definitely workable and feasible because part of it is already in place already. So, and we're also going to talk about cost effectiveness. So obviously when we evaluate cost effectiveness, there's the cost and there's the effectiveness, right? So seeing as this plan that the affirmative has is to release this information to school and stuff, but this dissemination is a large effort, not just monetary cost, but also like the effort cost. And the effectiveness, well, we're not really sure because the sex offenders might not be employed in schools or daycare centers or babysitting centers, but they could be employed other places. They could be lurking around in public places. It doesn't change the fact that they were sex offenders and that in their mind, they could still be committing a sex offense. So excluding them from these areas doesn't mean that they won't commit again. It's just that they're going to commit it somewhere else. So now the effectiveness of the negatives counterplan is that we directly address the root issue, which is that in their mind something is unresolved that causes them to commit this crime. It's something wrong with the way they view the world or their mindset. So that's why we have these counseling services, the psychotherapy, other corrective measures, treatment for these people. And definitely, by targeting the criminals, the people who really are the problem, rather than telling the other people to avoid them, is a lot more effective than simply publicizing this information, right? We don't want to just inform everyone that, hey, there are these sex offenders and you shouldn't employ them. We want to solve this problem. We want to reduce the likelihood that they're going to commit again. Okay. And also, so there are also some disadvantages to informing the schools and the places and stuff like that. When this plan comes into place, it might be met with a lot of skepticism and fear because people will start thinking, what if in my school there's a teacher who's a sex offender? What if in the place I work there's a sex offender? Like, you don't really know how to screen for this process. And they do clarify that they have different ways of sorting through it. But this exclusionary idea prevents sex offenders from really reintegrating into society, which is what we want. Because, like we said, if we don't employ them in these places, they could still go and commit the crime somewhere else. What we want to do is to solve this problem and help them reintegrate into society and reduce the potential for them to recommit these crimes. So the negative has proposed a critique against the mindset of the resolution. We've also proposed a counterplan and minor repair, which is going to be more desirable. So please vote for the negative.